Hey, good morning. This is Friday, the 15th of January. This is Jonathan Ribble reporting to you live from good old Des Moines, Iowa. Uh, the impeachment um, process is it's a farce. It's a farce. I don't care what anybody says. Um, how can you impeach a president for two times, and how can you get anything done in 7 hours? That's the first thing I've ever seen anybody do in politics in 7 hours. Are we going to expect this? It took them 8 months, took them 9 months to deliberate over a bill. It took them nine. I mean, this was Operation Warp Speed on the impeachment. And you can impeach a president over what he says. Isn't that the freedom of speech? And this thought of insurrection. My goodness. Insurrection. I don't believe it was insurrection. I believe it was a bunch of thugs. But they're still not asking the question, how? Now, why do you have 20,000 troops? I mean, out of 100,000 people. Okay, guys, think about that. 100,000 plus people. They have identified 200. I don't know about you, but 200 people out of 100,000 is not very many. 200 out of 100,000 people is less than 1%. I mean, it's like a tenth of a percent of the people that were there. 200 people, they've arrested 100 of them. So less than a tenth of it's a tenth of a percent. It's like a not very big. And you're talking that's an insurrection. Here's what an insurrection look like. Those same 100,000 people with guns. Those same 100,000 people with billy clubs and baseball bats and torches in their hand. That's an insurrection. What we saw the other day was a few pissed people. Rightly so. Okay. They're still not asking the question, why? Why did it happen? Here you have on November 3rd, Trump's in the lead by far. Then all of a sudden, late in the hours of the night, somehow, some way, we get dumps of ballots just coming out of thin air, dropped off the back of budget trucks, Ryder trucks, those temporary, those rent-a-truck things, not even postal service trucks, suitcases filled with ballots underneath tables. Uh, Election watchers that were not able to watch the election. They said you needed to be 6 feet apart. Well, I watched a lot of videos of people sitting at the same table, and those people that were counting were not 6 feet apart. Um, I even saw some people wearing Biden Harris face masks working in the facilities. How can you have a bipartisan election and having people that are completely one-sided voting without having any supervision, especially with the volatile situation at hand over the summer, the riots, the things like that. And nobody was held accountable for their speech. So if you're going to hold one accountable for their speech, hold everybody accountable for their speech. Using the word fighting, that doesn't mean we're going to fight you physically. Using things like we will, until all legal aspects are done, we're not going to concede. Well, that doesn't mean we're never going to concede. That means we're going to do our best to fight like hell. But that doesn't mean I'm going to blow anything up. We're going to go down there and peacefully protest. We're going to raise our voices. How hard is that to know? So that's what I want to get across, that, the words we use. I mean, Twitter is banning him for the words he uses because they're feeling like they're not banning him and it seems like their stocks have dropped. You drop 82 million people that follow this guy, 82 million. When these companies start to realize that there's 74 million people and 90% of them. Now, I believe in the polls that say 90% of us feel that that was wrong, but there's 10% that don't. Wow. What happens when it's 50? What happens when it's 60? I mean, this is Mitch McConnell and those other 10 that voted for impeachment or are looking at this. They're not getting my vote. If you're not going to stand with your Republican president, who has brought 12 million more people into the Republican Party than he did last time around, when he's brought more Latinos, more blacks, more everything, and it's not just this white social country club. That's why they complained about white supremacy, but now it's for the blacks, it's for the Latinos, it's for every race under God's green earth. It's for every race. But I still say, what can we learn? What can we learn? The key is we need to really pay attention. And if you're going to run for office, if you're a politician, or if you're in the limelight at all and have any bit of a following, listen to your constituents. That's why they did it, was they were mad. They were frustrated. I don't feel that it was all Trump supporters. So I don't feel that it was. In fact, there's been a timeline established that Trump's speech started at 12 and it ended at 1:10. And the people who, the first people that breached the Capitol, were at 12:53. So you could not have went down there and listened to Trump's speech and been incited by President Trump and made it down there by 12:53. His speech did not get over until 1:10. This stuff, it's another witch hunt. It's another keep me in the limelight, keep me in the political eye. Because I'll tell you this, I know this from my following of politics for the last 20 years or 30 years now. Trump is probably the most entertaining politician I've ever seen in my life. Well, he's not a politician. He's the most entertaining political figure there ever is. And once he goes away, if he goes away, see, they got to keep him alive. They got to keep him alive to keep us paying attention to what they're doing. Otherwise, people will be lulled into sleep again, and we won't have the amount of votes. So on both sides, they're trying to keep him alive. I honestly really feel that this is going to be a Trump presidency. And no matter who's sitting in the chair, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had 3 terms. I believe Trump will too. He'll have 3. He'll have this term where they can't stop talking about the man. They can't just let him go gently into the good night. No, they can't. He's already said peaceful transition of power. He's already stated that. You'd have to be a lunatic, especially if you've heard about all the troops that are going to be around Washington, D.C. You'd have to be an absolute lunatic to disrupt that thing. So I know you can't be a positive Trump supporter if you did it. So with that being said, I just want to say that watch the words you say, evidently. What are they going to start policing our words? And they are. They are. We don't have any free speech anymore. They're going to erode that amendment right out. That's the first one to go. Your free speech, your right to speak up, your right to declare anything. And then the second one is your right to bear arms, because they'll get the free speech one done. If they can do that one, they can take your guns. They can try. And then they go to number 3, and our Constitution is going to be eroding from the top down. You watch. You watch. So I say, if you got a voice, use it, or you'll lose it. Again, listen, listen to your constituents. You know, um, yeah, we don't want an insurrection, but I'll tell you, we had one in 1776. And it does say in the Declaration of Independence, when this government gets too rowdy for you, in layman's terms, we the people have a right to throw off such government. It does say that in the Declaration of Independence. So, with that being said, I wish nobody to do that. But politicians need to understand that the madder you get, this is a sleeping giant. There's 300 million people. Democrats and Republicans get sick of the lies. They get sick to death of the lies. They get sick to death of them. And you had them cooped up, so from March until December, and now all of a sudden. So, with that said, my name is Jonathan Ribble, signing off for today, and I thank you.